Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of It's All About Vinyl. And my name is Mark Roland.
And my name is Push.
Thanks very much for joining us. So, if you haven't listened before to our massive back catalogue of podcasts of one, where we explained what we're going to be doing, which is basically just pulling some records out of our collection and having a chat.
Yep.
But really, that's just an excuse to talk about whatever occurs to us in the week, whatever's been happening. We'll be talking about our history as music journalists, about music journalism.
Yep, a little bit of that.
About mags. But last week we were talking quite a bit about David Bowie.
Yep.
Which isn't surprising given it's 10 years since he died and since Black Star came out. So there's a lot of news and stories around at the moment about David Bowie. And I, at the weekend, went to London to an event at the British Library.
Right.
Called Bowie in Time, just a cabaret, which was... I was invited by Mark Reeder. Mark Reeder, who was DJing at the event with Gudrun Gut. Mark Reeder is from Manchester. He moved to West Berlin in 78, I think it was, where he became the kind of de facto Factory Records office. Is basically his squat.
Right.
Because I think he knew Joy Division really well. He knew Tony Wilson. He was part of that scene. He worked in record shops in Manchester, was obsessed with electronic music, and sort of went to Berlin, I think, just to do a bit of record shopping and never came back.
Right.
So he then started a label there. He managed bands. He managed Gudrun Gut's band Malaria. He managed Die Totenhosen.
Was malaria? I always thought it was malaria. Is it something?
Well, it is malaria, but in German they pronounce it malaria.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So should we call them malaria or malaria from here on in? What do you think?
You've started. I think malaria is where we're at. Yeah.
We should probably call things the same way.
I'm looking forward to your German pronunciation of Einstürzende Neubaten.
Einstürzende Neubaten.
There we go. You see, well, there you go. You've got something.
I have Push. I do have a qualification in German. So
a qualification.
Yes.
What's that?
An O level.
25 yards swimming.
No,
you did in Berlin.
I have a real O level.
Okay.
In German.
Okay.
So I can say Einstürzende Neubaten, which you clearly can't.
I can't. No, you're right.
And the reason you mention Einstürzende Neubaten, of course, is because also at this event was Blixa Bargeld of Einstürzende Neubaten, who was also in the Bad Seeds, a founder member of the Bad Seeds, Nick Cave. Mark Reeder shared a flat with Nick Cave. He went to live there after he broke the birthday party up, and they sort of became...
Is Mark still in Berlin?
He is, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He runs a label called MFS, Manufactured for Success. He does quite a lot of DJing and all sorts of things. He made an absolutely fantastic film, again, about 10 years ago, just over 10 years ago, called B-Movie, Lust and Sound in West Berlin, 1979 to 90, I think it's called.
Yeah, you've mentioned that film to me a few times. I've never seen it, and I really need to see that, I think.
I would really recommend it. If you haven't seen it, I think there's a 10th anniversary version knocking around. I think there's a soundtrack album of it that's just been released as well. It's basically it's the story of Mark Reeder going to Berlin and life in Berlin during that period. That so just after Bowie had left, I think he literally arrived just as Bowie had gone off, right through to the Berlin Wall coming down.
Right.
So it's a fascinating era. He was flitting between West Berlin and East Berlin. He had the Stasi on his case. He was telling me that he actually got hold of his Stasi file. And it's like 80 pages or something, and loads of it's still redacted. It was incredible. Gosh. He was being followed. He found out at one point he was working with a band. He was invited to, I think I've got this right, East Germany, East Berlin, to produce a record on the Amiga record label, which was the state record label of East Germany. And he was making this record, and he didn't realize, I think until he saw his Stasi file, that one of the guys in the band was in the Stasi.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. That's how grim that was. So anyway, this film, I still don't quite know, because I've never actually had the opportunity to actually ask him, how the hell did you do that? He didn't make it, but he's in it a lot.
Oh, right.
And I think he's obviously, very, very involved, but he wasn't the director. But it's got footage of him as if it's an actual film, like a movie, that is contemporary
from the time.
Like he's acting himself. He's playing a version of himself. And I was looking at this thinking, what's going on here?
That sounds really... I have kind of read that about the film before, and I remember... I was just thinking as you were saying that sounds kind of quite incredible. But I would think that is right, that he was filmed a lot back at that point, and it's been compiled from, along with other stuff as well. It's not all him in it, is it? It's just, but there's quite a lot of him in it. And I was just thinking, now you could probably do that somehow with AI, or soon you can, and how fabulous. But actually, the fact that the AI could do something like that, we're getting completely off the subject here, but of Bowie. But the idea that actually to just do it and not have AI of having done it is incredible. Yeah, I mean, somehow stitching together, he must have been doing. I mean, I know he was doing some films. I think he did sound effects for porn films for a while. Right. So I think he was involved on the periphery of the kind of underground art film / porn scene, and was obviously, like everybody else, just sort of trying to pick up work wherever you got it. Yeah. So what was his involvement with the Bowie event then? He was DJing. Oh, he was DJing, okay. Him and Gudrun Gut were DJing. Right. So it was in the entrance hall of the British Library. They'd set up a stage. They do events there from time to time, like a lot of London museums and places do these days. So it's quite a nice environment to be in, because I don't know if you're familiar with that. Yeah, it's an amazing space. And staircases sort of go up, and then set back, there's the beginning of the some of the books are on display. That's right. Really old, sort of massive tomes sat there, sort of row upon row of them behind glass. So it was quite an appropriate. Yeah, I was a member there for about a couple of years, going in there quite a lot to do research stuff. Yeah, it's a good place to go. Yeah, it's nice. So who was what was actually happening then? So Gudrun Gut and Mark Reed were playing Bowie and Bowie adjacent tracks. So there was lots of Eno. I think there were some Bowie cover versions, right? And some T-Rex. At one point, this is one of those serendipitous moments that I really enjoyed. I nipped to the loo while the DJing was happening, in between the live acts, which I'll talk about in a sec. And as I came back, I could hear Hot Love by T-Rex playing, which I think is it's the first track I can remember from Top of the Pops watching it. Right. And, the synapses blowing in my brain. That was the one. It was Hot Love by T-Rex. You'd have only been about 6. Yeah, was it 71? 7? 7, I think, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wow. And so that was that because of Tony Visconti? Was that why? Did he produce that? He did produce that. So was Tony Visconti at the event? Well, exactly is my point. So I'm walking out, I hear that chorus, la 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 la. Yeah. I'm singing to myself as I walk back in. Yeah. And I bump into Tony Visconti. Well, I say bump into. More walk past. Oh, okay. Let's keep it by bumped into. I would have said, "Hi, Tony. I really like your work," but he was deep in conversation with somebody else, so I left him to it, really. But so he was there, obviously, to watch the music, and the music was it was
Jehnny Beth from the band Savages.
Right.
She played 2 songs, Girl Loves Me and Dollar Days from the Black Star album on the piano, which was very nice. The second track, she had a special guest, she said. And the special guest turned out to be Donny McCaslin, who was it was his band who were the Black Star band that Tony Visconti produced. He's the sax player.
Yeah.
So he played Dollar Days with Jehnny Beth, and that was great. That was quite special. Then there's a bit more DJing, and then Blixa Bargeld came on, and he performed. What did he do? Started with, I think they did Subterraneans off Low, but that was kind of, I think, a recording, and then they came on the stage, and he did Helden, the German version of Heroes, and Where Are We Now?
Right.
From the next day, and Lazarus.
Oh, okay.
He had, which I think was very notable, his eyelids were covered in rainbow glitter.
Oh, right.
It was very pretty. And he had a gong, which he played as well, which he'd bought from the same place where they'd scattered David Bowie's ashes, which was quite poignant. So, that was a very, very enjoyable
I was
evening.
just thinking, you were talking about gongs. I was thinking of Bang a Gong, and I was thinking, therefore, of...
More of Tony Visconti's productions
Get It
of
On.
T-Rex. Yeah.
That was Get It On, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
Which I think in America was called Bang a Gong.
Oh, was it?
I think so, or at least was in brackets after the main title, I think.
Right.
So, but yeah, I drove back to sunny Norwich. I was in bed by 12:30. It's great.
Fabulous. I was just thinking so we've done, this is our second podcast, and the second time we've talked about Bowie. I wonder if we're going to talk about Bowie every single episode. We probably won't. Well, we must stop ourselves if we start doing that. But it's interesting, isn't it, how important, I mean, as you say, there's a lot, he's in the air at the moment.
Yeah, it's definitely, that's one of the reasons for it. But I think also, though, when you start talking about him and the people he's worked with, particularly from maybe the 1970s, then the connections that start to spread out, it becomes impossible almost not to keep mentioning him. It's just, he was that important. And that album, Low, I think, was so critical, and it connects. That particular album, I think, connects him with Eno and with all that music in Germany. It connects to, Michael Rother and Neu and Harmonia and all of those bands from that era, and then that connects to Connie Plank, and that connects to Kraftwerk, and it all just starts to tumble.
I always loved those that idea of connections between artists and things, and one of my favourite things, in books, but it's a favourite thing of all things.
Okay,
is Rock Family Trees, the Pete Frame stuff.
Yeah.
I used to love them in the music paper. I think it was in Sounds where they were originally published, and then of course there's been a couple of volumes of the book of them put together into books that have appeared over the years. I'd imagine the first volume of that is a lot of years old now. 30 years old, maybe something like that.
Maybe even longer,
possibly. But I loved what I loved about those was the visual representation of how this particular musician moves from this band to this band to this band, and you get the build up as the name implies, a family tree of musicians and how they all come together. I think as well. A lot of those bands, like those early Pete Frame family trees, were often bands like sort of Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd, and that era of bands. I guess they were classic rock kind of band. I was always really interested in the American stuff because I didn't know that so much about them.
Right.
So the various different, particularly the West Coast stuff, how Buffalo Springfield links into the Byrds, how the Byrds and Buffalo Springfield links into Crosby, Stills, Nash, and then of course Young as well, and the whole kind of Flying Burrito Brothers and people like that. All these band names that I kind of didn't really know what any of them sounded like when I was, first getting into music as a teenager. I mean, I remember flicking through the family trees as they appeared. I don't know that they were a weekly thing that they appear. They appeared every so often. They'd appear kind of regularly, and being really into the idea of looking at those. The punk one I remember very, very clearly. That tied up the Pistols with the Damned, with the Clash, how they all actually tied in together. Fascinating stuff. Anyway, connections in music. Yes,
I mean, I think as well that idea of reading about things before you could possibly experience them was a strong experience back then, wasn't it? I can remember reading about Can a lot.
Right.
Mainly through John Lydon, I think, probably talking about them in Public Image interviews, because I loved Public Image, and he would talk about his influences, and Can got mentioned, and I can remember seeing other bands talk about Can, but I didn't hear them until years later. 4 or 5 years after I first started reading about them. But I sort of knew I would like them, but I couldn't afford to buy the record, or I just didn't get around to it or whatever. And then one night I was in some weird place in the middle of nowhere, and somebody put Tego Mago on, and I was like, what is this? And it's, this is Can. And I was like, okay, and that's my new favourite band. But I think that idea of reading about a band, reading about the connections, reading about an album before you could hear it, was a mysterious and enticingly exciting experience.
I suppose it happens less so now, because if you hear what does Can sound like, well, you just go online and find it and play it. Whereas in 1973 you couldn't do that.
It's true.
It's interesting you talk. I've got a record that I'm going to. I wanted to talk about, and there's a Can connection with it.
Oh, right.
And in fact, it's a thing called Greasy Truckers Party.
Greasy Truckers Party.
And the Can connection is so this is a. I really love live albums.
Okay.
And I really love live compilations.
Yeah.
So this is a compilation there are 4 artists on this double album. And it was recorded live at the Roundhouse in early 1972. The reason why I first got interested in this album was Hawkwind are one of the 4 bands that's on it. You love
a bit of Hawkwind.
And I do love a bit of Hawkwind. So I first heard about this record probably around about the time. I would have been about 11. So probably not at that time, but within a year or two, I got into Hawkwind with Silver Machine, the single, which came out in the summer of 72. So as I say, I was 11. And my entry point to this album was just hearing about it and not knowing what on earth it sounded like. I knew Hawkwind were on it, and I knew what they sounded like, but there were other bands on it that I didn't know what they sounded like. But I really wanted to get this record. It was quite a cult record at the time. So it was recorded live at the Roundhouse, 4 bands, and the 4 bands are Man, Hawkwind, Brinsley Schwartz,
right,
and Magic Michael. Except Magic Michael's not a band; it's a person.
It's a geezer.
A geezer.
Okay.
But Magic Michael wasn't supposed to be on the album.
Right.
And the band that was supposed to be on the album aren't.
Who's that?
Byzantium.
I don't know them.
So Byzantium was Chaz Jankel was in Byzantium.
Oh, later of the Blockheads.
During the Blockheads, yes. So this was a charity event. These 4 artists, so not Magic Michael, he was just there as in the audience.
Just turned up.
Well, he used to turn up a lot of gigs. He was a guitarist.
Right.
That's the Can connection, because he auditioned for Can.
Oh, okay.
And didn't make the grade.
Right.
Which surprises me in some ways. Magic Michael was a kind of a hippie kind of figure in the in the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s. He would kind of get up and play his acoustic guitar.
Oh, so did he audition when Damo Suzuki left to be the vocalist?
Yeah, I think he did.
Oh, okay.
So that was his,
right.
But he failed. Magic Michael was, I think somebody from the NME, quite possibly Nick Kent, somebody like that, called him the Wild Man Fisher of Ladbroke Grove.
Okay.
Wild Man Fisher being the Frank Zappa associate, who was kind of a wild man.
Right.
And Magic Michael wasn't really like Wild Man Fisher, but he was a very odd character.
Yeah.
And he was kind of around doing weird songs. And so, but he was just at this gig.
Did he have a recording career?
I think he did, apart from being on this album.
Yeah.
I think he had one single a bit later on.
Right.
That he recorded with a couple of members of the Damned. Okay. So,
right.
Very kind of weird.
So we're connecting Can with the Damned.
Well, here we go. You see, this is how it goes, doesn't it?
This is Pete Frames.
So anyway,
weird tree.
So this event.
Yeah.
So you've got these 4 bands playing. On a Sunday, I think it was, at the Roundhouse for charity. Greasy Truckers was a charity organisation, and they raised money for kind of various projects around London. The idea of this album and this gig was that it was to raise money for a hostel in Notting Hill. So the 4 bands came together. The bands were all signed to United Artists. The label for this album is United Artists, so that's the connection.
Right.
They all agreed to play. So they start playing. I don't know what the order was for the bands to play the actual event, but very quickly there's a power cut.
Oh.
Which means that everything goes.
I don't like the idea of a 1972 power cut in the Roundhouse.
Well, the thing about it is that this was at the time when all the power cuts were happening in the 70s.
Miners' strike.
Because I don't know if it was a miners' strike?
72.
Or was it?
Was it the oil crisis?
The oil
right,
crisis.
Yes.
So we were rationed with our power. So there's a power cut anyway that happens.
Maybe I was watching Doctor Who when this gig was happening. I can remember a power cut in the middle of Doctor Who.
Well, there were quite a lot of power cuts at that time, weren't there?
There were.
So as a result of the power cut, Byzantium didn't get to play.
Okay.
So Magic Michael gets up on stage and starts playing a song.
Yeah.
So that gets recorded because they're recording everything.
Yeah.
And it makes it onto the album because there's no time for them to play.
They must have been so annoyed.
They probably
Can you
were.
imagine? You've turned up. Where are they from?
London, I believe.
Oh, okay. Well, they didn't have to come far then. So they turn up. The hype's big. It's going to be on this album.
Yep.
And so, this could be, give them a lot of exposure. Stupid power cut happens. They don't get to play.
No.
Mad Mike the hippie comes up and does something. Magic Michael comes up and does something, I assume, bonkers.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, the track,
okay.
Yeah. I think it's called... no, I can't think. Music is for the people, or something like that.
Right on, man.
It was a very right on. It's basically about 10 minutes of him kind of... He loses track halfway through, and somebody else gets on stage with him called Joyce the Voice. And Joyce the Voice does the last kind of half of it. There's a lyric in the track. I think he kind of made it. He gets heckled quite a lot.
Oh, yeah.
He uses some of the heckles, turns them into lyrics.
Wow.
There's a great line in it where he talks about trousers are my religion. And I think that's a terrific idea. I like the idea of that. I think trousers is a good idea for a religion.
It's as good as any.
Yeah, indeed. So the album doesn't quite turn out to be as it was planned.
Doesn't, especially for Byzantium.
Especially for Byzantium, we're not on it at all.
Old Byzantium.
Exactly.
What happened to them afterwards?
I'm not sure that much happened to them afterwards, actually.
See.
But Chaz obviously ended up doing quite well with the Blockheads.
Yeah. And Mucky Michael made a record with the Damned.
Magic Michael. Magic Michael, yeah. You get it right. The Man track is quite cool. There's 2 Man tracks. One of them is 20 minutes long.
Well, funnily enough,
rock.
I did note that I saw you had this record knocking around. So I thought, I wonder if he's going to talk about that. So I gave it a little listen.
Oh, okay.
And I listened to the Man first track.
Yeah.
I think it's Spunk Rock.
Spunk Rock, yeah.
The first 2 minutes of it, I thought, sounded a bit like television.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Then after 2 minutes, it kind of goes into
Right.
sort of more boogie territory and
Right.
a bit more sort of at 1972. But there's a two lead guitarists sort of dueling solos. And I was quite surprised. I thought, I was expecting it to be more hippie.
They were they were quite heavy. They're quite heavy, man.
Yeah.
Welsh band
From Wales, yeah.
Yeah. I don't really. They had Bananas was one of their other kind of well-known tracks.
Yeah.
Most of their tracks were about sort of 15 minutes, 20 minutes long.
It was very fashionable in those
The
days.
Welsh Grateful Dead, I guess, is what they were.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, but Brinsley Schwartz is quite interesting. Their kind of band. They were a pub rocky band. Had a very country kind of feel to their. I mean, Nick Lowe was in Brinsley Schwartz.
Yes. I bumped into Nick Lowe once as well.
Oh, did you?
Well, and I say bumped into. I walked past him once in London. And I said to my wife, "That's Nick Lowe."
I did used to bump into Nick Lowe
you did.
quite a bit.
He lived round your way, didn't he?
He lived round my way when I was in...
Most of my celebrity encounters I bumped into as more I walked past.
Right. Well, I used to...
noticed him afterwards.
I did used to bump into him in Summerfields quite a lot.
Okay.
In Brentford, that's where he was.
I bumped into Lena Lovitch in Waitrose here in Norwich.
Recently?
It was a few years ago now, but she lived here, yeah. I say bumped into, I more walked past her down the meat aisle.
Okay.
But she looked like Lena Lovitch.
Yeah, well...
She had the hair and the makeup and the black and the lace and everything.
She lived in Swaffham.
Did she?
A little town just out about 30 miles, which is my hometown. So about 30 miles from Norwich. And she lived in my old girlfriend's old house.
What?
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to trump my I bumped into Lena Lovitch anecdotes in that kind of style, I'm going to have to bump into more people. Wow.
Yeah. Well, what you should do is don't walk past them, bump into them.
Yeah.
That's what you need to do.
Okay. Yes.
So
I'm not sure she'd have liked it.
No, perhaps not. But Hawkwind are on this, and that's the main.
That's why you
thing. That's why I bought this album in the first place. 2 tracks from Hawkwind.
I looked it up as well while you were talking, sort of, and I found out because I thought, why on earth was it called Greasy Truckers?
That's what the organisation was
That was
called.
what the organisation was called. So why was the organisation called Greasy Truckers?
I thought,
was it set up by some greasy truckers?
Yeah.
It sounds like a very early 70s sort of, biker gang
a bit kind of
thing.
Yeah. I think that's probably why I liked the idea
apparently it was a parody of the D'Oyly Carte Opera Company. And I had to look at that for a while, and I thought, how is that apparent? D'Oyly Carte. And then I thought, oily cart, oily car, greasy trucker.
Oh, okay.
Man.
Right.
You can just see if you're sat round in your 1972 Notting Hill squat planning your next fantastic wheeze to raise some money for the charity that you could get to that from D'Oyly Carte, maybe.
Given enough weed, you probably could get to that.
Yeah, well, exactly, yeah.
But, just very quickly as well, the other thing about this album is, apart from the fact it's dreadful condition that it's in.
Yeah,
why
is it? So just to explain, the spine of this double album is utterly wrecked. It's not really holding together.
I don't know, because I have 2 of these.
Okay.
This is the one I bought because it's in better condition than my original copy, and it's in a dreadful condition.
That's really bad. Look away now, vinyl.
I think that's probably cats scratching using the edge of the. It's been in the shelf. It's been in someone's shelf there, and along with others. And I should imagine there's a whole load of others.
So it's like that when you got it.
It was like that when I got it. But my one is much worse than this. But I've got quite a lot of records that are like this as well that cats have had a go at.
Oh, your own cats did wreck. You mean?
Not this one, but
not that one. No. But other ones.
Oh, other ones. Yeah, loads of them.
You let them do that?
I didn't let them.
Oh, okay. They did it when you weren't looking.
Well, yeah. It was one of those, I suppose, I don't know, I guess it's an accumulation of scratching that over months you suddenly go, hang on a minute, I've got loads of records here that have been ruined by
cat damage. That does remind me, my copy of Magical Mystery Tour, the Beatles group record, I bought that when I was about 14, and I remember I brought it home, put it on my turntable. My turntable was on a small, I don't know what you'd call it, platform just below the bedroom window. And I literally just put it on, first time I played it, and my cat, I was just lying there enjoying it, and then I saw my cat Tabitha starting to shake her bum, like, when they're about to launch themselves up in front of the turntable. And I thought, no, don't do that, because she was heading for the window. And so I panicked and said, don't do that. And she panicked, misjudged her jump, and just leapt up into the air and then landed on the turntable. And it scratched right across Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane, and then gouged All You Need Is Love. I've still got it to this day. But the weird thing is, even though it plays terribly, obviously, because it's wrecked, but it's rather a nice memory of that pussycat and that moment in time.
You should have just let nature take its course.
Well, I should have done, and she would have been fine, and I'd still have a pristine copy, but that's what happened there.
Cats and vinyl, they don't go together very well.
Not a good mix.
For several reasons. No. But just to quickly note, one thing about this album as well is it's an auto-coupled album.
What is an auto-coupled
So that means that the first disc, one disc has got sides 1 and 4.
Okay.
And the other disc has got sides 2 and 3.
Okay, yes. So, that's mad.
It was.
There must be a reason for this.
Quite a few double records in the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s, were auto-coupled, so-called, and were like that with sides 1 and 4, and then sides 2 and 3. And it's so that you could rack the 2 discs on your turntable.
I see.
You bring your arm across and you have one drops down, you play side 1, then the other one side drops down, on top you play side 2, and then you pick them both up and you turn them over, and then you play 3 and 4.
Gotcha. My God.
4. So, is that right?
Yes, it is right. Yeah. So that it goes to show, doesn't it? I mean, the audiophile of 2026 would be horrified by that as a way to go about listening to records. But that's
indeed. Well, it's just because it just stopped you getting up.
Yeah.
And
beanbags are difficult to get up from.
They are. Yeah, absolutely.
Especially when you're as stoned as you probably were when you're listening to that record.
Probably. I think one of the most famous auto-coupled album is Electric Ladyland, Jimi Hendrix.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think Tommy the Who was auto-coupled. There were a few like that.
They were trying all sorts of things. I suppose. I wonder if they made a marketing thing out of that.
I guess they could have tried to do it. They did with this album, definitely, because this was one of those cheapo albums as well.
Oh, really?
£1.50, I think it was.
Oh, right. Let me look. Let me check that for you.
And I think...
Yes, £1.50.
20,000 copies were made.
Correct. 20,000 sold at £1.50. So that was another thing that was happening a lot. Well, I say a lot. I'm going to mention one other album that was happening with, which was
one?
Faust.
Okay.
The
Faust tapes.
Yeah. That was 49p, I think.
Right. Relics, Pink Floyd was another cheapo.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And I think, wasn't Pink Floyd's A Nice Pair another cheap?
That was a double album, wasn't it? But yes, that was
the first two albums put together, wasn't it?
Yeah, sort of decent price. They were, those Pink Floyd records were the ones everybody had. The sort of kids had those because we couldn't afford them. Yeah. So I had Relics and I had
Relics, yeah.
I still love the sequencing to this day of that album.
Right.
That's how I know those tracks first, because I heard that long before I heard
exactly.
the albums all that was lifted from.
Yeah.
Ends with Bike, doesn't it?
Does it? I haven't played it for so long.
And the whole album ends with that sort of music concrete tape loopy stuff.
Yeah.
That just sort of goes on and on.
Yeah, that is Bike, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like it.
Pink Floyd stuff. They had quite an appeal, I think, to kids. I
certainly really liked them. Yeah, I loved that stuff. That early sort of Syd Barrett stuff.
Yeah, and there was what was the one about several species of small furry animals
huddling together,
gathered together in a cave and grooving with a Pict.
That's right.
Brilliant.
What were they on about?
And it was just kind of music concrete stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I heard a lot of that stuff because my brother was 7 years older than me. So that was all his, this stuff, I'm sure. I mean, I don't think he had Greasy Truckers, but he was really into Hawkwind.
Right.
So I listened to Hawkwind quite a lot back then. And I've still got the 7-inch of Silver Machine that was released in 72, which was recorded at this.
Yeah, the basics of the track were recorded at the Greasy Truckers. They put out a few, maybe 15 years ago, something like that, a box set of the complete, because the band played full sets. You know, Man and Hawkwind have got 2 tracks each on this album, and Brinsley's have got maybe 5 or something, because their tracks were a lot shorter. But the whole set that they played, they played 3/4 of an hour long sets. So the whole lot was recorded, and then they picked bits out for this album. But they released a few years ago, 15 years ago, a box set of each of the 4 or the 3 bands, because of course Paul Byzantium, as we keep reminding them.
Poor old Byzantium.
That
I'm going to have to listen to them.
They
now.
didn't play. Yeah, they were all right. They were kind of quite sort of pub rocky again, kind of band. Yeah. But the whole of the sets are there. So Silver Machine is on that box set.
Yeah.
The kind of original live recording of it that then was turned into the 7-inch.
Yes. And so, again, knowing that you were maybe going to talk about this record, I listened to that version of Silver Machine, and I'm really familiar with the 7-inch because I listened to it endlessly as a kid.
And
they are so different. I was quite surprised how different.
But it is how different
they are.
Recording,
because they took it into the studio.
Yeah,
Morgan Studios.
Right.
In northwest London.
Right.
Where Dave Robinson oversaw the overdubs.
Right.
And Dave Robinson, who then started Stiff Records, and created the 7-inch version of it. And I read a quote from Lemmy, who was in Hawkwind at the time, saying they listened to the recording and Bob Calvert singing on it, and he said it was mad. He said, I had no idea he was singing that badly. He said it sounded like Captain James T. Kirk off of Star Trek, those records he does, where he talks over the top,
Brilliant.
It was truly terrible. But apparently, when they went into the studio, Calvert was sectioned briefly.
Right.
So he couldn't go to do the overdub, and nobody else could sing it. So Lemmy sang it.
Lemmy sang on it, yeah.
And that became... And it was a hit. It was a hit single.
It absolutely was, yeah.
They went on top of the pops.
Yeah. Well, they that was a recording that they'd done. They didn't actually... They weren't allowed to go on top of the pops, I think, because they were too kind of wild.
Right. Yes.
But they made a film. It was almost like one of the first music videos that they made for it, which is brilliant. Yeah. Of footage of live stuff that they kind of put together.
Perhaps not with Stacia, their dancer.
I think she's on it.
But maybe not in the nude.
But wearing clothes.
Yeah.
But yes, Robert Calvert was like that. His vocal. I mean, have you heard him use solo albums?
I'm not that familiar with them. The Starfighter.
The Starfighter one. It's one of the funniest records. It's just brilliant. It's got great music, and Robert Calvert is terrific. His delivery is a little bit spoken word, a little bit. He's a poet, basically.
He's the singer on Quark, Strangeness and Charm, is he?
He's on quite a lot of that, yes.
That's my favourite Hawkwind album. I love that record. That's a fantastic record. Yeah. We should maybe have a think about that. Come back to Hawkwind. Are we going to talk about Hawkwind as much as we're likely to talk about David Bowie?
Well, probably not. But I mean, if I had my way, we would. But I suspect that isn't going to happen. So, because I don't think Hawkwind probably has the sort of reach of David Bowie somehow. Not these days. Although you'd be surprised. I mean, every so often you meet people. I meet people who are Bowie fans. You meet Bowie fans all the bloody time. Who are Hawkwind fans. Yeah. There was somebody I was thinking about the other day that it was a few years ago. Carl Hyde from Underworld.
Is he a Hawkwind fan?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of us around.
Right. Yeah, I saw them once. They were very loud. I remember this is in the 90s, maybe.
Right.
And the stage looked like a science lab.
Right.
It was great.
Brilliant.
Yeah, lots of spooky green light.
Yeah,
it was like
yeah.
a sort of bad B movie.
I reviewed them
wearing lab
for the
coats.
Maker once.
Oh, yeah.
And I put them on once as well.
Did you?
Yeah. Yeah. Another time. Another time.
We are going to talk about Hawkwind more in this
We might
podcast,
do,
aren't
yeah, we might do. Anyway, shall we move on to something else? What else have you got on your list of things to talk about?
Well, I was going to mention just sort of more newsy things,
right?
If I can, a couple of releases that we don't get sent many records here anymore. Mostly Electronic Sound magazine. That everything comes through email. You get streams. So back in the day, of course, you'd get sent. When we were at Melody Maker in the 80s and 90s, you'd get sent vinyl and then
I think
CDs.
as well. You bear in mind as well, of course, because our reviews editor. Claire Francis isn't based here at the office.
That's right.
She's a bit of Claire is. I have to catch up with where she is every month.
Where's she living
really.
now?
Barcelona at the moment.
Okay,
but she was in Glasgow before that, and somewhere in Yorkshire before that, and Berlin for a while. So I think she still gets quite a lot of stuff.
So she has to keep changing her address details.
She does,
yeah.
But I think that's where the review copies of stuff.
Yes,
and I don't think there's a huge amount of vinyl comes in, but we do get the odd thing.
And it's very expensive. So
yeah,
I mean, I remember when I was a Melody Maker, I was after you'd left. I took over the dance music pages that you edited, and so all of the dance music 12 inches would get sent to the editor of those pages, which was me, and I would come in 2 or 3 days a week to the office, and every time I'd come in, the pile would have come out of my pigeonhole and would be on the floor and would be running about 2 or 3 feet. Every week I would get that many records, but not so many these days. But the very first thing that came into the office this year was a CD.
Excellent.
So it's all about vinyl, but it's also all about this CD, which is from a band called Test Card F. And so I was really pleased to see that, because Test Card F are a synth band that were formed in 1981 in Norwich,
right,
from the UEA. They described themselves as back then as combining cheap synths with banging metal bins, which is just right up my street.
Banging metal bins.
That sounds good to me.
That's a Norwich thing.
Banging metal bins.
Yeah,
they are a Norwich band.
They're a Norwich band. The Higsons, of course, famously banged metal bins. Banged metal bins. That's a bit of a tongue twister.
You need to watch out with tongue twisters.
I know, because you get in a loop with them sometimes and you can't get out of them.
I've heard that can happen.
It does.
So they did a couple of 7-inch records on Bax, which was a label and a record shop in Norwich. Bandwagon Tango and Third Stroke, and then they did a Peel session as well,
right? And
then they split up.
I remember Bandwagon Tango, yeah.
But this came, and I thought, Test Card F are back, and it's called, as I said, it's called Checkout Camera. So Lyric concerns itself with being at Tesco's and being surveilled by Tesco's as you try to buy your leeks or whatever it is you're buying there. But it's very good. It's out the week that we're recording the podcast, middle of January. I assume you can find it probably if you search for Test Card F on Bandcamp, which is what I did.
Yeah.
Where I discovered they've been around now for a couple of years.
Oh, have they? Okay.
They've been doing gigs.
So
they've released quite a lot of records.
Because it used to be Vince Rogers.
Vince Rogers is in this lineup, and who was I think the kind of main guy
back in the day,
and the synth player, and the vocalist is Ruth Roberts.
Right.
I don't know if she was in the band back then or not. I think there was 4 of them.
Don't know
back then.
Can't remember. I just remember Vince.
And Vince, interestingly, went on to have a whole new life after Test Card F as a TV presenter.
Yeah, he did. He was in G Mr. Tracy after
That's right, yes, he was.
Test Card F for a couple of years. And
another synth duo,
yeah. And then he, he went on to either Thames Television or London Weekend Television, one of those kind of I think it was a London TV company, and he was a news reporter, and he specialised in doing those kind of things at the end of the news bulletins, a slightly light-hearted or kind of feel-good story that they would kind of throw in. And he did all of those. He was really, really good at it.
Yeah. It was quite odd seeing him pop up because I had no idea. I remembered, I never saw Test Card F, but I did see G Mr. Tracy quite a few times. I really liked them. And then didn't sort of see the band, I think they stopped or whatever. And then a couple of years later, he's sort of popping up on the end of the London News or whatever it was with some...
I sort of spend 10 years thinking, that guy looks like the guy out of Test Card F. Hang on a minute.
Hold on a second. It is. Yeah, so yeah, Test Card F.
Cool.
Good that they're back.
And there's something, is there another one?
There is another one, yes.
And this is vinyl.
This is vinyl. This is Jehnny on Holiday, which is Jenny Hollingsworth from Let's Eat Grandma.
Right.
Let's eat, Grandma. Let's eat, Grandma.
Oh.
Let's eat, Grandma. It's that old joke, isn't
it?
Where
does the
comma go? Yeah.
Or is there no comma? Yeah.
So another Norwich band.
Yeah.
It's just coincidental, really, I think, that we're talking about these bands. We happen to be in Norwich. These artists are from Norwich. But it's nice to see bands sort of happening from here. Let's See Grandma, of course, so really interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know how you describe them, a sort of electronic-y, folky, weird pop duo. Very unsettling in some ways, but very compelling presentation. Very unusual band, signed to Transgressive. But Jehnny, this is her first solo album. Let's See Grandma are still going. That's why it's called On Holiday, because she's on holiday from Let's Eat Grandma.
Yeah.
This album has just come out. There was a listening... No, I think there was a performance at Venus Vinyl,
right,
which is a very nice record shop here in Norwich on Magdalen Street, if you happen to be in the city at any point, where she performed a couple of tracks from it. And this record, Quicksand Heart, has been getting some very, very good reviews.
Okay.
Let's see what happens. It's quite mainstreamy, but quite. I think like Let's See Grandma, they seem to have this sort of appeal which you can see being mainstream, but is actually also very strange. So they've got a very left field undertow to them, and it's also got this heart-shaped.
Oh my goodness!
Heart-shaped 7-inch.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Red vinyl. With the track Androgynous on one side and Don't I Hold You on the other.
So that comes with the album then, does it?
I'm not quite sure. This is the super limited indie exclusive edition vinyl. Yes, it does. Yes.
Okay.
I think it did come with it. That's quite nice, isn't it?
That's lovely.
The regular vinyl is just your regular black vinyl. But I think
that's brilliant.
She cites people like Prefab Sprouts, Beach Boys, Teenage Fan Club, Tina Turner even.
Oh, okay.
She also cites Cyndi Lauper and Kate Bush, and I think if you're looking for a direct sort of, I would say those two artists put you right there. Kate Bush,
Lauper,
yeah, she definitely has a bit of the Kate Bush about her, and she definitely has a bit of the Cyndi Lauper about her as well.
That's good.
So yeah,
check that. I should be checking that out.
Check that out. Yeah, I'm sure it's on. The very nice vinyl, limited edition. Oh, it's right there. Look, great big hype sticker that I totally missed. That says it's got the heart-shaped 7-inch in it. But also, I expect on streaming and all of that stuff as well.
Excellent. Good.
How are we doing for time?
I don't know. I have no idea. I should imagine it's probably... I think we've probably...
Do you think we've probably...
Done another one?
I think we might have done, actually. I've got a feeling that we probably have.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
So there's more here, but maybe we'll nudge that into next time.
Another time, yeah.
And then some other things will happen. Well, I think we should.
Hey,
Okay.
Let's do it.
It's a deal. Let's do another one. Well, thank you very much for listening. And sounds like we're going to do another one.
Indeed.
So we'll catch up with you then.
Brilliant. See you then. Thank you.